Have you ever wanted to throw playing cards like Gambit from the X-Men? Or chop fruit in half like a ninja? Or use playing cards as weapons? Well, stay tuned because today you're going to learn how to throw a playing card. We're going to be looking at 2 different techniques and focusing on 3 major points when throwing playing cards, including accuracy, speed, there we go, and technique. But before we get into that, we're going to learn a little bit about the history of playing card throwing and where it was popularized. Let's look at that now. Card throwing has been around for a long time. Some believe that it originated in the 1800s with Alexander Herman, who was a fantastic magician, and he would incorporate this in his live stage shows. Now, the cards that they used back then were a lot heavier, but he would accurately throw them to an audience member and it would land on their lap. Howard Thurston then also used to perform that in his stage shows and would whip a card from one end of the theater all the way to the other end and would smack the back of the wall. There's a great book on Howard Thurston that I've read by Jim Steinmeier. You can check out the link below. I'll leave that for you so you guys can do your research. Achieving accuracy, distance, and force with a card requires giving it both lateral speed and angular momentum. The spin creates a gyroscopic stabilization so that the card's flat profile remains mostly parallel to the direction of travel and thus suffers the least possible air resistance. In other words, it's thrown flat and spins and moves forward. Teachings of card throwing is actually in the book Cards as Weapons by Ricky Jay, this book here. Don't go looking for the hard copy. I actually took the cover off because I wanted to conserve it. This on eBay probably going for about $1,200 if you can find it. But there are paperback editions available. You can probably find a PDF somewhere, I don't know. But inside this book, there are very, very interesting things. This is a book mainly popularized because of its title, Cards as Weapons, which created this big myth: can cards be used to actually kill people? That was actually later debunked by the show Mythbusters, but this book was just kind of a satirical look at using playing cards as weapons. At the most, you can probably pierce flesh and, you know, draw a little bit of blood. But in this book, as you can see, there are multiple techniques that he teaches. I will be looking at a technique used by Howard Thurston. I believe this is also the technique that Ricky Smith Jr. uses. He is actually the Guinness World Book of Records holder for the speed. I think it's like 95 miles an hour or something like that, and also the distance. Ricky Jay is also well known for his card throwing and has been seen on many late night TV shows in the past, you know, throwing cards into watermelons, etc. The other technique that I'm going to be showing you is a basic variation of more of a flourish. This is something I've been doing for a long time, and the only sort of history I can find on it are Dan and Dave Buck, who've put out something called, I think they taught this, which was called the click, that's it. The click toss, which is tossing a card in the air, but if you actually use it with the momentum of a pitch, you can actually get the card to soar at a pretty ridiculous speed and pretty accurately as well. Those are the techniques that we're going to be looking into, so thank you for being patient and checking out a little bit of the history of card throwing. Now let's get into learning how to throw these cards. All right, so the first technique we're going to be looking at is the Thurston Grip. The Thurston Grip is taught within Cards as Weapons, and we're going to look at a detailed video on how to achieve accuracy and strength. This is the technique that I use when I toss cards, when I throw cards, when I want to chop things, when I want to really wail them at people, pedestrians, children mostly, animals sometimes. This is the technique that I use. So basically you want to hold the cards in this grip here. Now what you're going to do, so if you're holding it face down, you're going to hold the corner that has no pip in between your index and middle finger, and you're going to curl them into your hand, just like I'm doing here, using your arm. So basically just like a pitcher throws a ball where they'll move their foot out and they'll throw like this, is basically what you're gonna be doing with this. Now you're gonna start here, and as you cock back and turn your whole body, your whole arm is going to act as a whip, kind of like, now if you can do this, remember this? People do this all the time, whip, whip. Don't wanna do this in your room when your mom's listening. But basically this here is that whipping motion, but you want to get the arm into that, right? So you're turning your body, and just like a whip is releasing, you're gonna get that wah, whip way down. Now at first, just start small. At first, grab the cards and just see if you can just soar them to get an idea of the physics of throwing a card. Because it's much like a frisbee, it has to soar sideways. A lot of times you're gonna throw, it's just gonna flutter in the air and fall down. So what you'll want to do is practice on just getting the card to soar. And after you're more comfortable with it, that's when you're really gonna start wailing it. Let's see how this technique does on the card target. All right, here we go. We're gonna try to hit the bullseye. We're just gonna actually just try to get it on target and get it to stick inside the styrofoam. It's pretty thick styrofoam, so we'll see what happens. Oh, I hit the middle. Let's try backing up. That basically is the Thurston technique, which is really launching it forward. As you can see, the accuracy isn't all great, but I mean, I try my best. Next up, we're going to look at the click grip. The click grip is something a lot funner because you're not so much gonna break your arm throwing cards, and it's also a bit of a flourish where you can just toss cards up, and these can go boom, up to the ceiling, 20 feet high, and come all the way back down in sort of a boomerang fashion. I believe this is taught by Dan and Dave, something I've been doing for a while, but this is definitely a cool little flourish. But if you incorporate it into a card throwing technique, it becomes really interesting because you're getting a crazy spin momentum on the card. You're gonna be able to throw these very accurately, and the spin will actually create a greater impact because there's more of like a G-force happening when it hits the target. It kind of looks like this. Same action with the whipping, just like that. That is the click technique. Let's see how this technique does on a target. So now we're gonna look at the click flick technique, which I think was originated by Dan and Dave, which is basically taking a card and throwing it up, catching it back, and it sort of boomerangs its way back to you, just like this. But if you angle it downwards, you can actually throw it. And if you incorporate that whipping motion, you can just doubly get it to fly. So we'll see if we can hit it on target and get it to stick. Might be a little bit more difficult, but we'll check it out. So again, you want to use this whipping technique. Boom. It doesn't take as much arm strength because most of it is happening from the flicking motion of your fingers as your fingers sort of do that flick. Now, if you want to, you don't have to throw it like as hard as I'm throwing it. If you just want to practice accuracy, look at that, got it? Trying to get that 100, right? Or you can use the other technique, as I mentioned, to just slowly throw it on target, which will really practice your accuracy. But if you want it to stick, if you want it to stick, you know what? We're gonna use a different technique if we want it to stick. Here we go, got it. So those are the two techniques. Hope you enjoyed that. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something out of this. There are many, many techniques on how to throw playing cards. Different people use different techniques. I've seen a lot of techniques using rubber bands as well. If you're not so skilled with your dexterity or don't want to give it the practice, you can always rely on that. But I think there's something innately cool about being able to just grab a deck of cards and use them as weapons. Like literally, you can cut someone. So I hope you enjoyed that. Keep practicing. Please be safe when practicing. Don't throw it directly at people because you can hit them in the face, in the eye. If you're gonna do that, just tell them to wear goggles or something. Practice, be safe. Those are the major keys. And don't overdo it. I've developed like tennis elbow. My arm is like inflamed right now. So do take breaks, do some exercises and stretches prior or afterwards. That should help out loads. But regardless, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like and a comment below. Share this with your friends, maybe teach them in the process, and we'll see you guys on the next video, all right? Oh, and one more thing before I go. Obviously, on the last vlog, I promised you guys 3 prizes. So I've chosen 3 people at random who've commented on the last video to receive a signed deck of cards as well as the play button sticker for your laptop. Those names I left in the description below, so check them out. Congratulations to those of you who have won. I will be verifying your account if you claim you are a winner to make sure that you are the person you say you are. So don't try anything sneaky. That being said, I wanted to take a second to thank all of you. YouTube is everything for me right now. I love it so much. I love creating on YouTube and I love being a creator, and I'm nothing without the support that I have. So really any success that I have is because of you, and I wanted you guys to know that. And a lot of you on the last video, I just kind of asked you, let me know what you thought about the vlog, and it was a vlog that had absolutely no magic, and to my stunned surprise, like the comments were pouring in and they were positive, saying, how much you guys enjoyed the content even though there was no magic, and how much it's refreshing and you would follow me no matter what. And those type of things like really, really meant a lot to me. And I couldn't believe, as a magician, I've been putting a lot of things on social media, and for the most part, if it doesn't have a deck of cards in it, and if it's not like a latest magic trick, no one cares in the magic industry. And rightfully so. I think, you're following people for whatever reasons you want to follow them, but For you guys to show me the support, even though there was no magic, means a lot. It really means that on some level I'm doing something right and I'm connecting with you guys. And you guys can appreciate my channel for what it is, and that means a lot to me. So I wanted to take a second to really thank you guys for that. Sincerely, thanks. We'll see you on the next video.